ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। So as most of you know that last week we had a small introduction to the Bhagavad Gita. There are many terms which are used in our scriptures, the proper understanding of which is absolutely necessary to understand what they are trying to convey. And one of the most important concepts in Hinduism, around which the whole religion revolves, so to say, is the concept of Dharma. When we start the Bhagavad Gita, Shankaracharya's commentary, in his very introduction, he mentions this term. He says, there are two types of dharma stated in the Vedas. So you see, without understanding, without having an insight into what this term denotes, we cannot have any idea of what the scriptures are teaching. So this is as I said, this is a very important concept which controls the whole life of a Hindu. If it does not control, it should control. That should be the pivot around which his whole life revolves. It should be the niyamaka. Niyamaka means guiding factor. The only one, mind you. The only guiding factor in the life of a spiritual aspirant should be Dharma. Anything which goes against Dharma, whatever it may be, whoever it may be, has to be given up. This is the importance. Otherwise, if we don't have this center, if we don't hold on to this Dharma, the life will go absolutely haywire. It will be like a uncharted boat in an ocean. Nothing to hold on to. Whatever I am doing, there should be a pointer in reference to something which I can determine whether I am doing is right, wrong, whether I should be doing or not. Otherwise, if we just keep on doing what we see around us, what appeals to us for the moment, we won't have a leg to stand on. In the initial stage, it is sometimes not evident, but as we progress in life, we will realize that that's the rudder which keeps our boat in the right direction. Otherwise, it is absolutely impossible to achieve any kind of fulfillment, any kind of, mind you, worldly and of course spiritual. We will see how this comes to, how this is possible. So, living blindly is of no use. As Socrates has said, an unexamined life, irrational life, can lead you nowhere. So, nearly all of us are familiar with this word. In some context or other, we have heard this word, but maybe we don't know the various connotations and the various implications. So, many things are there to learn about this. First, of course, is the definition. What does it mean? Then there are various types of dharma. Then we should know what is the source of dharma. in order to know about Dharma, where should we go? What kind of people are inclined to follow Dharma? And how it protects all of mankind if followed properly. So there are many things. So all these points we will try to touch upon in brief, because detailed discussion we'll have to take it up separately. So first, the definition. Before going into the definition of Dharma, just something interesting. Have we ever wondered what is the proof of the existence of something?
Oh, yeah.
So this mouse is there. What is the proof this mouse is there?
It's feedback. It's feedback.
Feedback from whom? Julian?
It's feedback. Something in order to be aware, you need to be awareness itself, right? So it's feedback. There has to be one for another. There has to always be something else. If you have to be aware of something, then awareness has to be there.
Yes.
Separate from it.
But what is awareness is there, but what is the proof that it exists here? How is it proved? See, our scriptures, our philosophers are simply unbelievable. I mean, they examine everything. So, in Sanskrit, all things are called vastu. So the term is vastu siddhi. Vastu siddhi means how can you prove that this thing is lying here? They say there are two methods. First is you know this. You are the knower and this is known. So there are methods of knowledge, as we have discussed. First of all, directly what I can see, what I can hear, those are called pratyaksha. And how we know something is called pramana. And the knowledge we gain, the correct knowledge we'll gain is called prama. So they say that the existence of anything can be proved in two ways. How? First is lakshana. Lakshana means the characteristics of this thing. This is a red on top, black, shape is some particular thing. And pramana. Pramana means I am directly cognizing this. I am directly seeing this. So the most powerful way of knowing is direct cognition. There can be no doubt when I am seeing something. So Lakshana Pramana Bhyam Vastu Siddhi. This is the very famous, you can say, axiom of our philosophy. So we have to know for anything. If any topic is broached, we have to know what does it mean. What is the definition? That is the first thing about any discussion. So this mouse is easily visible. There is no doubt. It is called Pratyaksha Pramana. Nobody can doubt. But how to define something which is not visible but which we know exists? Then the problem comes. So those are called, as you know, abstruse entities. We know they are. Nobody has seen happiness. Nobody has seen misery. But we all know they exist. How? They exist because of the effects they produce. Since we know the effects, we can infer that there is something behind that effect. There is some cause. Without cause, nothing can happen. So like these happiness and misery, etc., the concept of dharma is also such a thing. You cannot see dharma with your eyes. But we can infer that there is some principle. And another problem in defining dharma is it is one of those Sanskrit words that defy all attempts at an exact rendering in English or in any other language. So the word passed through several vicissitudes. In the hymns of the Rig Veda, this word appears to be used either as an adjective or a noun and occurs more than 50 times. So it is very difficult to say what the exact meaning of the word dharma was in the most ancient period of the Vedic language. In most cases, the meaning of dharma, which the ordinary man understands, is religious ordinances or rites. rites. And most of us know that it is generally translated as religion. But it is far from being what we understand by religion. It is much, much more. So the word religion means generally a system of faith and worship. If you belong to a particular religion, means you have belief in the tenets of a church and performance of certain rituals prescribed by that church. So that is required, that is all that is required from a devout man by being religious. Means if you say, I am religious, which religion you belong to? Okay, I belong to Christianity. So I believe what the church says, what their teachings are, and I am also inclined to perform the rituals which are mentioned there. So these two are enough. Religion covers this. The word religion more or less covers the whole gamut of this. But this word dharma appears to have a much deeper and wider meaning. Now let's see what those are, various aspects in whatever time we have. So in Sanskrit, we know that the root of a word, each word is derived from a root, and the root of the verb gives us an idea of its meaning. So naturally dharma is also derived from a root. What is that root? That root is dhri. Dhri means to uphold, to nourish, to support. The word dharan is also from this root, dhri. Dharana is also from this root, dhri. So this gives us a very good idea of what the word dharma means. Uphold, support, nourish, protect. But how it upholds and supports is a fascinating study. All of us are searching security, support, stability, whether we know it or not. The man who is only inclined to the world, who knows nothing other than the world, he searches this security in wealth, friends, relatives, name, fame, etc. But all these things which the world can offer, they will cease to be effective, and they may also prove to be positive evils if not supported by dharma. This may be a little difficult to grasp, but when we go deeper, we will understand. It is dharma which lies behind these, which is actually supporting us. That is the, what do you call, supporter, in the sense, without that, the whole complexion of all these worldly things may change. So actually, we should know, whenever we are getting some kind of support, behind that thing lies dharma. So the shortest definition of dharma which can be given is that which supports, that which upholds. And this is mentioned in the definition of dharma given in Mahabharata. This is the very often quoted, and this goes to the root of the matter. This definition. What does it say? Dharanat dharma iti ahu. Dharma is called dharma. Why? Because dharanat, because it upholds us. Dharmo dharayate praja. Praja, we are all praja, the general, ordinary people. So, dharma is upholding the whole population of the world. Yatsya dharana sanyukta sa dharma iti nishchaya. If you know that something is upholding you, supporting you, know for sure that it is dharma. What is preventing you from destruction is dharma. Same thing Shankaracharya says in his introduction to Gita, which we will take up. When he mentions about dharma, he says, what is dharma? Jagata sthiti karanam. The world exists, it is not destroyed. It is called sthiti. Karana means reason. What is the reason for the world existing? He says it is dharma and dharma alone. Otherwise it would have been destroyed. How is it possible? A very simple example, incident, true incident, which most of you know. So when Swami Vivekananda had gone to Europe, it was absolutely peaceful. No sign of trouble. Germany, neighboring countries, everybody thriving. There is not even a single sign that there could be any trouble. So I'm talking about maybe he had gone second visit to the West, 1890s or something. At that time, when everything was absolutely calm and quiet and nobody even thought there could be any trouble, at that time Swami Vivekananda said, Europe is sitting on a bomb. And if this fire which is burning inside is not deluged by spirituality, there will be a big explosion. We can never imagine how he knew that. This was just about 15 years before the First World War. So it was not deluged by spirituality, it was not inundated by dharma, and the result was what we know. And again, after 30 years, again we know what happened. So this is an absolutely concrete example. Now, we are ordinary people, we don't know the undercurrents. But this statement of Swami Vivekananda shows that the only thing which can sustain, which can bring peace, which upholds, is dharma. So what is true for the collective, on the collective level, is also true on the individual level. So if a nation can be destroyed in the absence of dharma, so can an individual be. This we have to remember. So dharma is that which supports, upholds and nourishes us, and also provides what is called in Sanskrit yoga kshema. Yoga kshema means all of us want something in addition to what we have in any station of life, and we want to protect what we have. So everyone living as a householder has to have those two things. A monk is different. He will not care for, he will rely on God, he will not make any attempt to do this consciously. But for householders, they have to make efforts to get what they don't have, but they should get, and protect what they have. So this is called yoga kshema. So dharma also helps in that. Apraptasya prapti. What you don't have, dharma will enable you to get that. So in short, adharma, the opposite of dharma, takes us on a lower, it drags us down to a lower scale of evolution, while dharma uplifts us. It helps in the awakening of divinity finally. It makes us cultured, refined, noble, improves our character, and ultimately makes us fit for spiritual progress. So this definition of dharma is based on its function, that it upholds us, supports us, protects us. But if you want to pinpoint what dharma is exactly, define, that also can be done. And this is a very, very interesting definition. So, dharma stands for that which upholds the existence of something, makes a thing what it is. If A is A, there must be a cause which makes A A. Is it not? That is A's dharma. So everything exists. Something is there which makes it what it is. That thing is that particular thing's dharma. So everything in the universe has a dharma because it has to rely on something for its existence. So what is the definition of dharma then? The essential nature of a thing without which it cannot exist. So, by examples it will be clear. What is the dharma of fire? The power of burning. If that power is taken, fire won't be fire. Inert things, what is the dharma of inert things? Inertness is the dharma. Wetness may be the dharma of water. So now comes the question, then what is the dharma of human beings? Something which without that we cannot exist, which upholds a human being's existence, makes him something different from the rest of creation. This must be our dharma. It is called Manava Dharma. Manava means human being. So what is the human being's dharma?
Compassion.
Compassion is maybe found in other beings also.
It's only specific, you're saying, like specific.
Specific to human beings, which no other being has. That's why we can know that human beings are separate. Something is there in each.
Manvata, I don't know what is
Manav Dharma. So what is Manav Dharma?
Manvata.
Humanity. No, humanity, you are just saying the same thing in other words. So, we have told this again and again. The answer has already been given many times. Huh? We have told this so many times. The Vedanta says that the one unique feature of human beings, that it is the power of becoming divine, which is not possible in any other body. So, this power is therefore Manava Dharma, or the Dharma of human beings. Now it may be asked, how is it possible for us to become divine? We are eating, sleeping, drinking, ordinary people, going to the doctor if there is a stomach ache. What question of divinity is there? So Vedanta says, divinity is already there, you don't have to create it. Divinity is already present. We are divine by nature. What is the problem then? Problem is, it lies very deep in our being. Like a treasure which is very deep in the ground, it is the innermost core of our being. But we are very reluctant to go inside. We want Starbucks, we want cruises, we want other things. So naturally, we have no time to go inside. That is why we cannot realize that. But there is no doubt that only humans can work their way up to divinity. No other living being can do so. So this is our characteristic. This speciality is our dharma. So now two ways are there before each human being. Either to manifest the dharma or to even hide it more. So all sorts of activities, immoral activities, selfish activities, they hide the divinity more and more. Those who revel in those things, they cannot manifest it ever. But those who do manifest, they only become real men in the true sense of the term, real human beings. So in his playing on a pun, Sri Ramakrishna used to say that in Bengali, a human being is called Manush. So he used to say, who is a Manush? Means who is a real human being. So he used to break the word. He used to say Man-hush. Hush means one who is fully awake. We are now deep in slumber. We are all sleeping in the nice sleep of ignorance. So who is a real human being? Who has broken this sleep? Who is awake in the real sense of the term? So these two we have seen. First, definition of dharma according to its function and what dharma actually means. And we have already said that dharma helps in yoga kshema, that is, helps us get what we want, also helps us protect what we have. So in Sanskrit there are two words which have the opposite meaning. One is abhyuday. Abhyuday means worldly prosperity. Wealth, sense pleasures, name, fame, whatever you want. Then opposite of abhyuday is nishreyas. Nishreyas is the way of renunciation, giving up the world. Now, the most important thing to note here and the most interesting thing about dharma is, you can say, see, these two are opposite things. So naturally, the means will be completely different. Is it not? If I have to gain something which are contrary in nature, the means of achieving that will also be contrary. But no, that is the interesting fact about dharma. So there was a great rishi in India, Kanada. Kanada is supposed to be the founder of the Vaisheshika philosophy. He defines dharma in a very interesting way. What he says, dharma is that yatah, through which we can get first abhyudaya, worldly prosperity, then also nishreyas. You can attain the world and you can attain God. Both. Yato abhyudaya nishreyasa siddhi sadharma. Now, how this is possible, again I will ask you later. So, these terms we have to remember. These are very basic terms. So, abhyudaya leads to the world. And this way which gives rise to abhyudaya is called pravritti. And that which goes away from the world is called nivritti. And both are mentioned in the Vedas. Both have the support of the Vedas. That is why Sri Shankaracharya, when we see the Gita, he will say, there are two dharmas mentioned in the Vedas, pravritti and nivritti. So if you are striving for worldly prosperity through the correct means, that is supported by the Vedas. Only they say that this is not the final thing. That is a step. So, Yato abhyudaya nishreyasa siddhi sadharma. That is a very, very interesting point about dharma. That it helps us in both. It can help us in both. It can help us in achieving worldly prosperity as well as it can help us attain God. So in the commentary to this definition, a little detail is given which will help us to understand. So a person cultivates dharma with the speech by telling agreeable and wholesome truths and by chanting the sacred writings, which is the scriptures, the Vedas. Then he gives us the different aspects, speech, mind, etc., how we can follow dharma. So speech by telling agreeable and wholesome truths, never an untruth, and by chanting the scriptures, whatever the scripture may be of that particular religion. Then with the mind, dharma can be practiced. How? By inculcating compassion, contentment, faith. Through the body also it can be practiced. How? By practicing charity, by relieving the miseries of others as far as we can, protecting those who are in danger. So these are the various ways in which dharma can be practiced. And these practices can lead us either to worldly prosperity or to God, whatever we want, according to our aptitude. What is our attitude? So, anything in short which makes us go away from our little selves can be called dharma, and that concept is called sacrifice. It is a very big concept in Hinduism, the concept of yajna. Yajna means sacrifice. So in this commentary, after what we have just mentioned, the commentator says, Yajnena yajnamaya janta deva stani dharmani. This is a very famous from the Upanishads he quotes. So then he says, this yajna is mentioned. So dharma also means yajna, means sacrifice. Now, another connotation of dharma. And we are just touching upon each point. So, because today we just want to have an idea of the various facets. Another connotation is duties in for the various stages of our life. That is the most common idea. So if we ask somebody, are you doing your duties? Are you dharmika? Are you performing dharma? This means, are you doing what you are supposed to do? The simple thing. So the most prominent significance of dharma in course of time came to be the privileges, duties and obligations of a human being. His standard of conduct as a member of the society. So are you following dharma means, are you doing your duties, what you are supposed to do? Are you a good member of the society? This came to be the most commonly accepted meaning. And for the general, for an ordinary human being, this is what he can relate to. If he thinks he is performing his duties, he is satisfied. And he has cause to be satisfied because he is a good citizen. The world is benefiting in some way or the other from his presence. So this definition, standard of conduct as a member of the society, this takes us to the types of dharma. What are the kinds of dharma mentioned in the... See, everything is so beautifully regulated here. That is the beauty. Nothing is left to chance. Everything is mentioned about how you can progress towards God from where you are. So types of dharma means there are two types. First is Varna and Ashram. That is called combined Varnashrama Dharma. Ashrama means what? Ashrama means which stage of life you are in. So it has been absolutely categorized. First stage, student life. What are your duties? Studying. The only duty a student has is acquire knowledge. Then comes the householder's life. What are the duties? Everything is mentioned in the scriptures. Then previously it was there Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha means after your children are grown up, you are free from your duties, then retire. Be detached. Now they will look after their own world. Don't go whole life poking your nose and losing sleep over what your grandchildren is doing. That is not duty. It is simply your attachment. So then comes last of all, that is monasticism. That is optional. You can, you cannot. That is the thing. But if you don't withdraw from the world at a particular stage, after your duties are over, don't give up attachment, always be engrossed in worldly matters. You are not following your dharma. Not at all. Because you've forgotten your higher dharma and you are still enmeshed in the same things which you have been doing all your life. So where is the progress? If you are still enjoying birthday parties when you are 70, 80, there is something seriously wrong. So there is no growth. That is the thing. So this is about ashrama dharma. Then what is the Varna dharma? Varna dharma means we had the concept of caste. It is still there. Unfortunately, this concept has been abused so much. Everything, the concept is good, but when it falls into the clutches of selfish persons, they corrupt it. So there was never any thought in the minds of rishis when they designated those castes that some would be called superior or inferior. The whole society they found, it is supported on 4 pillars. First is knowledge, first and foremost. People should be, a particular caste should be given, they should be freed to just acquire and give knowledge. They should not be burdened with anything else. They should just do that, and the society should support them. Society should not think this fellow does not do anything in the form of business or job. No, they are doing something which is much more higher. So that caste was called Brahmana. But only knowledge will not help if somebody attacks you. You need to fight them. So we need some people who will protect the country, protect the society. Those will be called Kshatriyas. Then only protection won't help. What will you eat? So those who do business, etc., those who earn money, they are called Vaishyas, the business class. Then those who serve others, maybe they are not so qualified in mind and body to do any of these things, so they will also be a separate caste. This was the idea. And of course now it is so much corrupted. I was amazed when I was in Mysore. There was a student. He had a chip on his shoulder. So afterwards I found why. He was a Brahmin. That itself is sufficient to turn your head. Then even in Brahmins they have made hundreds of divisions, Just imagine the foolishness. So he belonged to something called Nambudri Brahmin, which is supposed to be very high. So even if he was from Kerala. So even if they sit among Brahmins, they have to be a special something, because we are Nambudri Brahmane. Is absolutely problem is our nature is that somehow we have to show we are greater than others through hook or by crook. If you cannot show it by achieving anything worthwhile, just say I am born in this caste, so I am superior. I mean, absolutely there is no logic behind this, but what can be done? This is the world. So these are two types of dharma, two types. First, which stage of life you are in, student, householder, etc. Then, what is your caste? Caste means what is your profession. According to that, your dharma is decided. So everything is given in the scriptures. Brahmin should do this. Kshatriya's dharma is this. In the Bhagavata Purana, if you read, everything is described through pages after pages. So next we come to, I'm compressing many topics because I want to have a general idea about dharma, because otherwise we will not really able to understand that it is used in the scriptures, because it can be used in any of these senses. There are so many connotations of the term. So once you are familiar with all these uses, then you know what does dharma mean here. Now we come to the source of dharma. If you want to know what is your dharma, where will you go? That is very important. No, will you go to Donald Trump? Will you go to Elvis Presley? Where will you go? That is very important. So again, our scriptures tell us. That is the beauty. Everything is given if we just search for it. So what is the source of dharma? They say, Vedo khilo dharma mula. Mula means root. What is the root of dharma? The scriptures, the Vedas. And they say Akhila. Akhila means all kinds of Dharma. The scriptures are the root. And one very important thing which they say, there are two sources main. First is the scriptures. Second, Acharas-chaiva sadhuna. Sadhu means here good people. Their achara means their behavior. That is the best guide of Dharma also. So naturally Veda is very difficult to read, very difficult to understand in the original. So naturally an easier method is to read the scriptures based on the Vedas like Gita, etc. And very important, which supplements the scriptures and without which actually it is not possible to understand practical Dharma, is Acharas-chaiva sadhuna. How those who have realized the self, they behave. That is the best kind. Highly spiritual people. So this is true in worldly affairs also. Like in India, cricket is we live and breathe cricket. So suppose someone wants to learn batting, suppose. So manuals are there, but what he will learn by seeing Sunil Gavaskar batting or Richards batting or nowadays Virat Kohli batting, can he even learn from 100 books? He cannot learn. Because that is in practice. So suppose someone wants to become spiritual. Gita is there, Upanishads is there. But suppose you can live with a Vivekananda. Then what more scripture you need? Because that is you are actually seeing those principles alive in practice. That is why again and again in the scriptures they say Satsanga, Satsanga, Satsanga. Without that, it is absolutely impossible to understand the scriptures also. Scriptures say Satyam Vada, always tell the truth. But what is the practical implication? When you see Sri Ramakrishna's life, you will understand to what heights this has to be practiced. Scriptures say give up worldly things if you want to attain God. To what limit it has to go? See Sri Ramakrishna's life and other saints also. So without this practical example, it is not possible to have an idea of Dharma. We may read 100,000 books. So once Swami Shivananda, Sri Ramakrishna's disciple, he was so great that Swami Vivekananda himself gave him the name of Mahapurusha, means great soul. So once he saw young monastic reading something. So he said, "What are you reading, my boy?" He said, "I am reading the Upanishads." Then Shivananda ji said, "My boy, can you read our lives?" Our means the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. He said, "Can you read our lives?" Means our lives are the greatest Upanishads. Those have the truths stated in the Upanishads have actually been realized by us. So if you read our lives means if you emulate us, if you go follow the teachings which we give, that will be a wonderful supplement to your reading the scriptures. That is the thing. So that is why when we read the Gita, we will see after in the second chapter, Shri Krishna tells Arjuna about the nature of the soul, etc., etc. The highest teachings are given there. So after Shri Krishna has told everything, and finally Arjuna asks, You have told about the man of great supreme realization. But now tell me, how should I recognize such a man? Sthitapragyasya ka bhasha. How does he speak? How does he walk? How does he sit? So this means that all these are unique. All these are unique to such persons. They are special. That is the thing. So, two sources of dharma, then what? First is the scriptures, then acharas chaiva sadhu nam. Those great souls, realized souls, knowers of God. Seeing them, living with them, learning from them, there can be no better way of acquiring dharma. So just 2 points are left, we will cover those quickly. Next we had discussed who tries to practice dharma, who is inclined to practice dharma. So regarding this also there is a verse, Vidvadbhi sevita sadbhi nityam advesha ragibhi hridayena abhyanugyato yo dharma tam nibodata. So he says, Vidwan, you know, a knowledgeable person. Vidvadbhi means by the Vidwan, by the knowledgeable persons. Dharma is practiced. So what is the knowledge here? He says, Vedartha Vida means one who knows the import of the scriptures. He may be knowledgeable in physics, chemistry, biology, but that will not show us the dharma. He may not be inclined to follow dharma. So here Vidwan means, knowledgeable person means he has knowledge of the scriptures. Then Sadbhi. Sat means good. He is a good person. Otherwise, why will he be inclined to follow dharma at all? And Hridayena abhyanugyato means that person who will sincerely follow dharma will receive, that dharma will receive sanction from his heart. Hridayena. Heart means hridaya. So, sanctioned and followed from the heart. These are the characteristics. So, indirectly it is mentioned that dharma is followed by whom? Vidvadbhi, one who knows the import of the scriptures. Sadbhi, those who are good persons. And whose heart are absolutely sincere in believing in the tenets of dharma. They wholeheartedly believe in that. Yes, this is the only path. So such people will follow dharma, the dictates of dharma, and they will benefit by that. And last of all, in today's discussion, the most important, that dharma protects us in all possible ways. The very famous verse, it is there in the Manu Samhita and also in the Mahabharata. Mahabharata, Yudhishthira says, Dharma eva hato hanti. One who kills dharma, dharma also kills him. One who destroys dharma means one who gives up dharma, sacrifices dharma. He is destroyed. And on the other hand, dharmo rakshati, rakshita. One who protects dharma means one who follows dharma, preserves it, is also protected by dharma. So this should be the guiding factor in our lives. Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. Dharma protects those people who follow Dharma. Saying this, Yudhishthira says, Tasmat dharmam na tyajami. I will never give up Dharma. Because if I give up Dharma, my whole life will be lost. There will be no basis for my life. So how virtue, if you translate loosely Dharma as virtue, how virtue protects us is absolutely palpable. The very fact that we are not in some kind of jail and we are here shows that we are practicing virtue. You violate anything, you have to pay for it. On a lowest level I am talking about. Of course, higher levels are also there. So it gives you peace of mind. Like in Calgary, I have seen that here there are people, it is not so strict, but in Calgary, if you overspeed, they are very strict sometimes. So what happened when I was traveling with a devotee, so from maybe 2 kilometers away he saw a flashing light. Immediately he slowed down. If you are speeding, immediately slow down. Why? Because you know you are transgressing the rules. So you are afraid. Oh, policeman may be lurking here, he may be lurking there, he may be in the... Just go under the speed limit and be at peace.
No, there is a Alberta law there. If you cross, no
10.
matter what speed posted is there, if you're crossing the RCMP, then you should be less than 60 kilometers.
So the thing is, just if you do what you are supposed to do, you will be in peace. And your good behavior will protect you. It is as simple as that. Of course, this I am telling on a most ordinary level, but there are many aspects to this. So, naturally, slowly, we may discuss. It's a very interesting study and also very, very beneficial. So, the higher we climb, the more strictly we adhere to Dharma. That is the thing. If you want to be really spiritual, we have to obey Dharma in each and every walk of our life. There is no holiday. Because it depends on what our aim is. If you want to become completely fearless, get rid of the fear of death also, attain infinite bliss, attain infinite peace, then we have to go through Dharma and be sure that we don't deviate even an inch from them. So, on all levels, but this much is sure that wherever we may stand, if we follow Dharma, immediately we can see the result. Immediately, it will not take 10 years, 20 years. Our mind will be peaceful, we can try for some higher venture, we don't have to look behind our shoulders. So this all of us realize. So just summing up, first, the most important function of Dharma, it upholds us, supports us, protects us. Definition, it is the essential nature of a thing, without which that thing cannot exist. And the most commonly used sense in which Dharma is used, the privileges, duties and obligations of man, his standard of conduct as a member of the society. And the most interesting fact, it can lead to both worldly prosperity as well as God, although these are opposite. How, I will ask you now. Don't think I have forgotten. Types of Dharma, Varna, Ashrama, according to your caste and stage of life. Source of Dharma, scriptures. And the Acharyas, the great people who have realized God, because they can never take a false step, Sri Ramakrishna says. And how, which kind of people perform Dharma? Good people, knowledgeable people. And how it saves us, we have seen. So now the question is, I am standing here, to my right is Victoria, to my left is Toronto. It is something like Abhyudaya and Nishreyas. Now the definition of Dharma is, it can lead you to both. Now my question is, how can it help us attain both worldly prosperity as well as God? Because those two are opposite. How can you, what is there which can help you go to Toronto also and Victoria also?
Like for example, if I give the tax, this is my Dharma, and I am getting the everything good, air, road.
No, that is there. But here the thing is, question is, how can something help you achieve these contradictory things?
Yeah.
So how can, what is there which will, if you stand in the middle, it will also help you go to Toronto and also help you go to Victoria? The answer is very simple. A strong pair of legs. Is it not?
Very true. Very true.
The answer is simple but very ingenious. So, Dharma makes you fit for higher achievement. Now it depends upon you. Dharma helps us awaken your power. To what degree depends upon us. How will we use that power depends upon us. So this is the thing. So this is the secret which our scriptures have told unanimously. All the scriptures. If you go to the root, in all religions, there is no religion which does not teach the same thing in different language. Be virtuous. Follow these tenets. Then, through the power which comes to you, it depends upon you how you will use it. It can take you to God. If you don't want God right now, no problem. It can also give you the good things of the world. Both are acknowledged by the scriptures. Both are admitted. It is not that worldly prosperity has been shunned. Not at all. They only say, yes, it is good. But it is only a means to an end. If you think that is all in all, if you think that it can give you permanent satisfaction, you are wrong. That is the only thing. So, let us stop here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.